Okay, hello everyone. I think we are live. This is Rocket Lab Weekly episode 119. And we are here today with Scott and Miss Iglesias, and Matt is still doing his makeup, is going to be coming soon. And it's awesome to be here with you. I think it's going to be a very good episode. There's a ton of Neutron updates. The stock almost hit $100 this week, by the way. So congratulations to everyone who is along on the stock. I remember sitting here and talking about this stock in the fours and in the threes at one point. So it's been an insane journey. So how's your week, guys? How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. Mine was kind of like almost mixed feelings. I mentioned in the opening of last week's episode, I was really looking forward to this Eos Energy event. Actually made a video about it if you guys are interested in hearing more, but I think it was a good event, but I think it was poorly communicated. Like I was under the entire EOS community was kind of under the impression that there's going to be like some big contract announcement. And instead it was like to their credit, a really well done presentation of their technology, but definitely not what anyone was expecting. So as I won't say too much because the title of the video kind of teases something out, but I didn't sell the position entirely. I did trim the position that was just based on a big run in, like a big rally into the event. And then what it ended up becoming, I was just kind of I was already thinking about trimming. So, but yeah, I explained it a little bit more in the video. If you guys are interested, it's there. But yeah, other than that, it was a really good week. Had my mom in town, and it's always fun to see mom running around with the girls. So it's a lot of fun. How about you guys? How are you doing?
Miss Iglesias, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, thank you. I'm doing like someone whose stock price is reaching $100. Somebody in the comments said, if the price hits $100, Vince, will you show us your real background? Because we all know you're on a yacht somewhere.
Sure. I can show you the real background. It's Sweden. It's 11 p.m. on winter, so everything is very dark. Sorry, I might not. I have to F around to see like how I turn it off, and I don't want to take the show. But it's you see around my head, it's black. That's the background.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's why I have this to So it's better. Cool. Super congratulations. I'm also doing really well. I bought back all the cover calls, so my portfolio is moving again. And in the last month, the tracker on Interactive Broker says that I was up. What is it? The last month, 78%. So can't complain. Feels very nice. And Matt is still. Sorry.
I was going to say I still have a ton of covered calls for April in the 125 and 130 range. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw so many tweets this week about like Rocket Lab is very overvalued now. I'm selling. And the thing is, I went through this with the Palantir community because that was a stock that also went crazy. We were buying in the 6s and 8s and 10s, and then that stock hit $200. And I did see that on each like when we reached $30, then like certain people were selling, and then when we reached $80, then I think Couch Investor was selling, like just to say bigger names, and many other people. I think Jeremy Financial Education was like very heavily trimming, and then it just kept going up. And what I'm trying to say with this is, like make sure you follow your own due diligence and your own financial goals. I think everybody, if you made life-changing gains and you want to make sure that it doesn't have tomorrow, then yes, probably it's smart to trim. But do it after your own due diligence, not because people are selling. And I myself have also been thinking that there should be a pullback, and I've been thinking that since $50, and we are here at $100. So I think it's a very stupid game to try to time the pullback on Rocket Lab.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of potential negative catalysts coming up at the end of January. With I think Trump just started to say the T word, tariffs again this morning. We have the FOMAC meeting. We have the government shutdown looming again. So I think there's a potential for some pullback. Definitely not a bear, but there's always a potential for me to buy back those covered calls at half at half the price, hopefully. But if not, we'll see. I'll just keep rolling them if that's the case. But still intact. And I think the $100 wallet is such a psychological wall, right? I don't know why that's making so many of us so nervous. We've hit a lot of milestones, but $100 just seems so impactful.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I currently don't know how to value Rocket Lab. I see the tweets that people are saying that, yeah, like on the price to sales, it's overvalued, and we ran so much and we're due for a pullback. And I'm with you. I agree. But then at the same time, when I'm looking at it, like just one constellation out of many that they might be doing might be worth more than the company is worth today. And if you look from this lens that, okay, like very soon they will have the keys to space where they have the possibility to make multiple constellations, and just one of those could be worth more than what the company is today, then I'm like, it's quite cheap from that viewpoint. And I'm kind of happy I don't have this problem of just finding out about Rocket Lab today, because it definitely would be a head scratcher. But I'm definitely not selling. Like I can see the stock being $50 in a week, and I can see it being $150. I can't tell you what's going to happen. And the reason why I said this, because I'm hoping for some wise words from you guys, where you can say, this is how you value this company, or so you guys can take it away if you have anything wise to say about it.
I see Matt has joined us. Hey, Matt.
Hello. Good afternoon. How is everybody? Good evening for you, Vince. I don't know. The way I look at it, sorry to just take it over. The way I look at it is I'm looking at it like ULA failed, Northrop has failed, Lockheed has failed to be able to deliver what we need as a society, or at least the United States and NATO even, to really get ourselves back in front of the space race. And so if you look at this from a overall perspective of, okay, you have now one competitor in the space, SpaceX, which has absolutely disrupted everybody. Now you have a second competitor that is executing extremely well. It is on the verge of being able to provide whatever the United States needs in terms of space, defense, what have you. To me, then you're looking at the valuations of these incumbents, defense companies, what have you, and saying, well, why wouldn't Rocket Lab have that sort of same valuation if these eventually will be taking over those incumbents, right? They're failing. They're not able to make it work. They're not able to make it profitable. This company is. So in that respect, if you look at it, to me, they're the ones that are going to be able to drive us into 2050 at the front of the space race. So that's where I view the reason why Rocket Lab is getting this valuation. Companies are now starting to buy in, and to me, yes, there might be a $100 sell wall, and I saw that really good post that you had there, Mr. Iglesias. I thought that was really, really insightful. I think it is a really good psychological barrier, but to me, there's still so many catalysts in the next 24 to 36 months. It would be asinine to think that we can't power through and eventually become a $7,500 billion company. Reason being is we're on the precipice of profitability. There's so many additional things that the U.S. Space Force and many other companies, the Army as well, with the point-to-point logistics contracts still being awarded. We're on our way to Mars at the moment. The Psyche mission that's on its way to Jupiter. The Venus mission that's going to happen the latter half of this year, the beginning of next year, 2027. Coupled with the Space Development Agency, Golden Dome, not to mention the ops cash positive moment that we'll have later this year or early next. And then not only after that, but then having the cash flow break even of early next year or the second half of next year. And then followed after the first full quarter of profitability, the ticker then starts of 4 quarters after that eligibility for the S&P 500. So to me, it's just, if you think about that and put it all in one, there's no reason why this company couldn't, not immediately, but with all that support and institutional buying in and the removal of the incumbents in, say, the defense and space arena, to allow SpaceX and Rocket Lab to really flow into that, it could easily see this be $100 billion company before it even has to deliver its own constellation. Now that's obviously an upside sort of scenario, but as we've seen, the upside scenarios in our previous discussions have actually worked out, and it actually blown them away. So I don't think it's necessarily expensive. It really just depends on what vision you have for the long term of the company. And I always look at this like, are you buying it for 2026? Are you buying it for 2027? Or for me, I'm buying it to be a part of a company that I hope to never sell. Because at what point, what other frontier is there other than like antimatter and being able to, I don't know, create some God knows what out of that industry that makes it profitable. So I don't know. To me, this is the last frontier. Like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of this company? And it's going to be around hopefully for centuries to come and beyond my lifetime. Hopefully, my nieces, nephews, and hopefully if I have kids' lifetime, and they'll be able to own the shares and receive the dividends for decades to come.
Nice.
Sorry if you see me like looking around. I don't know where the hell my remote is for my desk light. So I'm looking for it.
You look beautifully lit up. We know you have been working on your makeup for extra 5 minutes, so I know you want to show it off, but you look very good.
Much appreciated.
Cool. All right, so I think we could start off with the news of the week. So let's see what happened this week. So finally, we have had the first announcement of the first launch of 2026. It's going to be for Open Cosmos, and it's in 5 days' time. And it might feel like half of January is gone and there hasn't been any launches, and Q1 is starting slow, but Scotto thinks otherwise. So
I've requested the screen to be taken over because, I was looking at this last night. Actually, so I'll rewind. First off, shout out to Francisco. He put something on my radar. So we'll start on Rocket Lab's own website. They recently updated the missions tab, and with that, we can see several upcoming missions. So yeah, we have the Open Cosmos mission. That is, I'm like 90% sure that was there was like a mention in the Q3 call that one of the 17 missions that were signed in that one quarter, one of them was European, and I believe that was Open Cosmos. So we have that one coming up next. We have this, again, Cased was also the Korean one mentioned that was signed in Q3. So that'll be coming up next. I'm just kind of considering how we should kind of unfold this. We'll stick with launch for now, because there's actually another section that's updated that's pretty insightful as well. So I was looking over these last night, and I'm a little unclear if these are in sequential order. They seem like they might be, with the exception of the Aspera mission. This is last that I heard, set for August. So I'm not sure if these are, but where I'm going with this is we'll look at Lockset, for example. We do know the exact dates for that. So if these are in sequential order, essentially what I did is I brought these over to the tracker because you can see it a little bit better, and they're just organized just a slight bit different. So we have the Cosmos, we'll see you now, the Open Cosmos mission, January, it's the 20th if you're using UTC, which the tracker uses, in case you're wondering why the dates are different. This will be Electron number 80. And then we have Bridging the Swarm, which is that cased one, which we assume is going to be the next one after. Side note as well, knock on wood, this will be the 40th consecutive consecutive successful launch for Electron. But then if you're looking past that, we have Lockset was at the bottom of Rocket Lab's list, and that was still, March 1st, so landing within Q1. So again, if these are in sequential order, these are all Q1 launches. So you can see 7 there, but we also don't have, I think, the full list here. So Kakushin Rising. That's with JAXA, the second one. We have DART, the HiCat mission. So that's going to be a HASTE. That's also landing in Q1. Daughter of the Stars, that was ESA. That was originally going to be December 2026. I'm not sure if this is still on track, but that's not Rocket Lab launch, but that is going to be the fifth Pioneer going to orbit. And then we still have Kratos, which is supposed to be in Q1, and then Synspective, which I'm a little hazy. I think that was supposed to be in December, or did we end up having that one in December? No, we didn't. Yeah, so that was right. It did get pushed. I remember somebody reached out. So, I mean, if you're looking at that, what is that? I think 8 missions in Q1. So I know that some folks, including myself, were kind of like looking at Rocket Lab like, you know, a little bit slower start to the quarter, which is unsurprising. If you guys remember the past, I think 2 or 3 quarters, it was almost the first full month of each quarter was like, okay, guys, like we got to get launching. And then suddenly they're just like, oh, we've got, you know, 3 or 4 in a month. So Q1 is going to be no exception to that. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit, I mean, I think it's safe to say we're going to hit 6, but as many as 8. And keep in mind, there's like a bunch that we just are just kind of like vague. I mean, while we're here, if you guys are interested, let's kind of look ahead a little bit. So, I mean, we have, Victus Hayes, Q2. Oh, Varda, we got to talk about Varda too, and MDMA, but like just kind of doing a quick scroll. It's like all of these are just like, we know they're in 2026. Are they in Q1, Q2? To be determined, but like there are plenty of missions coming up for 2026. I'm just going to quickly pop back to the Rocket Lab website because they did also outline spacecraft upcoming missions. So looking over at my notes real quick, what did I notice? There was the first thing that was outlined is like Varda seems to be missing. I'm not sure if that means it's no longer happening or what's going on with that that 4th Pioneer for Varda, but it's just not there. Another thing that I noticed was Global Star mentioning to be from 2026. I thought that was really odd because, I mean, these buses were supposed to be delivered like, I think the tail end of 2024. And most recently, I thought these were launching in Q1, like any day kind of an idea. And now to see that they're launching from 2026, I assume they're still being split into like 2 separate launches. And I guess the first one's not going to be too much later. And then the next one, maybe 2027, which is like, I'm not sure who's at fault here, but like that seems to be pushed way back. So yeah, not too sure. But yeah, that's it. Jacob, I see a comment. EchoStar 2, I believe that was the one that was launched, or sorry, canceled in Q3. Yeah. So that's I think all that I have for that section. Yeah. Do you guys have anything to add? There's one more launch related thing as well, I guess. While I have the screen, there is a quasi competitor to Rocket Lab. It's a little bit bigger. It's more comparable to Firefly's Alpha, but that is actually going to be launching in the next few days as well. So not like a deal breaker, of course, but it's like, you know, the competition is coming, sort of an idea worth keeping an eye on, just if you're interested in that. So worth having.
Which company is that, and where do they launch from?
So this is Isar Aerospace. They launch, it's like a German-built 1-ton capacity rocket that's built in Germany and launched out of a beautiful site. I wonder if we can actually bring up a picture. Is this it? Yeah, I hope.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yeah, it's like just a gorgeous launch site. Yeah,
the one that crashed back into the.
Yeah,
but they have not successful. Like they have not reached orbit yet, right?
No, this will be their second launch, and actually. So it was like maybe a few weeks ago, they actually were announced to be launching a craft for Redwire. And right away, I'm like, man, they haven't even had a successful launch yet. But the craft's not launching till Q4. So I'm hoping that they'll have, you know, this next launch. And then, you know, so hopefully this launch goes well. Maybe they'll get one more before the Redwire launch. But yeah, I'm definitely keeping a close eye on this one for not just for, you know, a Rocket Lab competitor, but also to see if Redwire is actually going to reach orbit later this year.
Yeah, I mean, most probably they're selling very cheap contracts, like just to show that they can sign.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And were they the ones where they blew up like after this, and then the next stage that was coming like blew up on the test stand?
No, who was that? That was the Australian one. But I don't know if it blew up on this. I think the fairing just like split open.
Yeah,
It was like the day before launch, for whatever reason, that trigger went off, and the fairing blew open, and the payload was just sitting there. It was a jar of Vegemite, actually.
Oh.
That was the payload. So yeah, I don't know how that happened, but yeah.
All right, cool. So I think that is it for the launches. Thank you for this very detailed information. So the next one is we had a visit again. It's as Matt would say, it's probably nothing. Wait, tech support.
Probably nothing.
But yeah, because I'm sharing Scott. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so we had a visit last week by Peter Hegseth, and this week, actually a few days after, by NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. He was touring the facilities, and yeah, as we say, it's probably nothing. What do you guys think about this revolving door into the government and all these visits to Rocket Lab?
I'm loving it. I think we have we're supposed to have an MTO announcement in the first quarter, hopefully. So I'm really encouraged.
Awesome. But by the way, did you guys hear something? I think it was last week when I heard something that the MTO budget was slashed to 100 million, or was it like fake news or someone? There was an article that came out that the Republicans are trying to completely kill the Mars sample return mission, and then it was not clear from the article if it's just like future financing or even the MTO is included. And then the article said that it was like taking financing from billions down to 100 million to like continue certain vital things, but 100 million is the budget.
I hadn't heard of that. No.
Okay. Yeah, we can see if anybody on the comments would.
Jacob said it was the MSR budget. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Because I was also thinking, like, I thought it was approved already, the MTO. Like, it just needs to be awarded.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. But I will say it's definitely more with Jared Isaacman. I know he's a fan of Rocket Lab, so definitely higher likelihood than in the past. And I want to make sure everyone knows it's disparate from MSR, right? Very disparate, but not the same. So I think sometimes people get them intertwined. One is specifically being able to provide communications to Mars. The other one is actually physically going to Mars to collect samples. So we're talking about the former, the transport, the telecommunications.
Yep. First step.
The thing that I think is confusing is that like in many of the bids, like the MTO was part of the Mars sample return mission. Like some of the bids, they were like including a telecommunications orbiter with the sample return. And I think that's what makes it confusing. Okay, cool. So we go over to the next news. So this is a red flag, maybe the reason for the possible next correction, and that is heavy insider selling at Rocket Lab. Scotto did a compilation for us. So Merlin Santil sold 27% of their position. Adam Spice sold 31.8% of his position, and Frank Klein sold 7.9% of his position. So is this something that we need to be sweating at night, losing sleep over, or it's just a natural consequence when the stock 20x's that certain people need to cash a little bit out?
Probably the latter. Like, I guess it'd be a bit of a mixed bag if there was like buying along the way as well. But, in Rocket Lab's case, I understand why there isn't. but especially myself, like I'm not going to sit here and be like, they shouldn't be selling their shares. They shouldn't be trimming their position as I'm sitting here and I've trimmed my position several times, so I don't have too much to add it. I think it makes, I don't know, I'd say it makes sense, but it's understandable to say the least. And I'm sure, especially like, I'm not too sure about their ages, but they're a bit older than me. I'm sure they're just looking to like kind of pad things out and are thinking about legacy now that they've built something to leave behind, So,
yeah. I think for Adam Spice, I think last time when I checked, his shares were worth about 150 million, and I actually maybe that's like 300 million now. Because when I checked it a few months ago and we had this insane rally, so him selling 30%, that's like maybe giving him 50 to 100 million in cash. And maybe he just needed to take some chips off the table. I have seen it with Palantir and many other companies that, as the stock price goes up, Alex Karp was selling. Heck, Sir Peter Beck sold a huge chunk of shares in the fours, which was probably a few months before the insane rally. And if he could have just waited a year, it would have been $40 million. So I think that shows that these guys are just as good as timing the market as the next guy, Yeah. Cool. We got a comment here that I know this is not financial advice, but thank you for everything and you and everyone at Rocket Lab does. You literally are changing lives. You paid for our wedding, holding a lot too. So that's awesome. That's great to hear. Hopefully we paid for a couple of kids there also.
Yeah, and I just want to iterate back. Sorry to cut that off. Of course, so love people being able to pay for some of these life experiences and things. And if you have objectives and things, of course, feel free to sell. But I want to reiterate as well that Peter Beck, the CEO of this company, was paid less than $1 million in salary last year. So when you think about these large amounts of share-based compensation coming through that are worth tens of millions of dollars, the taxes have to come from somewhere. And I think that people neglect to note that. I think that people think that CEOs are paid exorbitant amount of money, but a lot of it is through the fact of the success of the company and coming through share-based compensation. And you'd be surprised if you actually start to realize and look at CEO salaries. Yes, there's some out there that get paid exorbitant amounts, tens of 15, 20, $30 million a year. But for less than $1 million, you were able to have the genius of Sir Peter Beck and him generate likely more value for a lot of the shareholders than he actually took home in salary last year. So I just want people to keep that in mind and just always, yes, are they selling? But it's likely the fact that they have to for tax reasons.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Cool. And now we're going to go to a very exciting part. I really was looking forward to this part, and that is we have a crap ton of Neutron updates. So guys, Neutron is being built right in front of our eyes. I don't know how, like, the process is extremely transparent. I don't know if Rocket Lab is happy that it's as transparent as it is, but it is what it is. We live in 2026 with lots of curious people. So the first update is testing continues at our space structure complex in Mid-River in the thrust structure. This is one of the most complex parts of the rocket that must be able to withstand 2.1 million pounds of thrust during tests. More than 44 electrons combined. That is insane. I don't know how they test this. Do you guys think that they light a huge blowtorch? No, I have no clue how they test this amount of thrust. I just want to show that is this bottom part of the rocket that was missing last time when we were speaking about the parts of the rocket. We didn't know that this part existed. So that's going to house the engines. And then, so we take it all at the same time. So again, still in Middle River, we have a snowy update where this is I believe this part of the, I don't know, can you see my mouse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it's this part of the rocket that we see on the picture that is undergoing some weather testing. Then we have a Wallops update from Eastern Shore Spaceflight, who is invaluable with his updates. So he writes that he took a drive out to Wallops, and the Firefly pad has no visible action today. Those guys were on vacation, while the LC2, the transport, so that's for Electron. The transport actor was vertical again, suggesting continued checks or testing. Then LC3, which is for Neutron. No workers seen on the stand during my visit, but there was activity around the base of the pad. Took a drive out to North Dock and Bay area, where Neutron hardware is expected to arrive in the coming weeks. I guess that's the one that is coming next, that the Hungry Hippo fairing. Grabbed photos from the opposite side of the causeway showing continued construction progress and some new viewing angles. Neutron integration complex. What is AI? Assembly and integration complex, I think it's, yeah. No exterior changes, but the parking lot remains packed, which usually means plenty of work happening inside as teams prep for incoming hardware. Things still feel calm on the surface, but preparations are clearly ongoing. And then the last one is Murray J from New Zealand, who is also doing God's work, invaluable work that he's doing. And he is showing the ship that is carrying the Hungry Hippo fairing, and we are currently here. So we passed the southernmost part of Florida, and we are arriving in 3 days and 17 hours to Wallops. So what do you guys think about all this Neutron progress, and how sure are we that we are launching in 2026?
Oh, we gotta be launching in 2026 at this point.
Yeah,
like I'm feeling quite confident. Yeah, it's just it's kind of like that tracker on Rocket Lab's website where, you know, it's easy to look at it like this happens and then this happens and then this happens, but in reality, it's like it's all happening at once, and it's just it's just the dominoes are falling, and it's such a cool time. Like, yeah, that thing's gonna be stood up in no time.
I think in our predictions, Matt, you were the one who was thinking an April launch. I think you were the most bullish on the launch.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, you have a lot of these in separate parts being tested, all qualified, it looks like, and so now it just seems like they need to be married together and tested. Obviously, there's a lot of work that needs to happen, and so I would say when you see something on the pad, I would give it another 2 to 3 months before it gets launched. So cautiously confident that you'll see something likely on fully integrated on the pad by the end of February. But I am not a rocket guy, so I'm just an enthusiast. I don't know anything about putting things together, and but it just seems like all these things. I mean, why would they have it sitting out in the snow? Which actually. Cool piece, you guys probably already know this, but carbon fiber structure, right? So no worries of rust, in my opinion. But little tidbits about that. But of course, there's potentially some metal in there. But the weather testing is nice as well. You get to see some of the cold impacts on the carbon fiber. But I think you're starting to see these things all. I anticipate being readied for when the Hungry Hippo fairing comes into Baltimore. It likely will make a quick trip within a week down somehow to LC3, and eventually all these things are going to get married. So it seems like we're getting close, and so who knows? I am cautiously optimistic we'll see something at least on the pad by February. At least things being moved to LC3 by the end of February. Whether or not it's going to be fully stacked and integrated might be a different scenario, but I don't know. I'm still saying April. It might get pushed to May, but I'm very confident that it'll be the first half of this year.
Like the full launch, or just to the pad?
Full launch.
Full launch April, huh? Okay.
It honestly could happen. the thing that sort of worries me on the April timeline is I think that there's still a piece back in New Zealand in Warkworth that they're currently testing. There was no new updates on that one. And I don't know if that's like a second, like that it's hardware rich, like they're testing one and they have a backup one in the US, or because like we have seen the Hungry Hippo, I think it was sent like in the beginning of December and it's just arriving now. So if that piece is still going on the rocket, that's like 1.5 months away at least. So that's the only thing. But if they have all the pieces together, then I think the April launch is quite real, I think also.
Somebody in the chat had asked if there was any updates with the dredging. It looks like Jacob said nothing as of yet. Jacob also sent a clarification on the MTO contract. Thank you for that, Jacob. It looks like the MTO funding was approved in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act last summer for $700 million, so it's not part of the MSR package at all. So,
cool. There's another question here. Do you think they could maybe get additional cash for the constellation given the great stock price? They'd have a much bigger buffer and a peace of mind. I mean, I trust management on this. I don't think that money is currently an issue. Like they have a ton of money in the bank. And I think Sir Peter Beck correctly focuses on full attention, getting Neutron off the pad. And who knows, maybe if they need money, it might be that they find a way that they don't need to raise money for the constellation. We talked about that also. So I'm not in favor of raising money just to raise money. I don't know how about you guys.
I think given the current valuation, what I would really love to see is an acquisition announcement. I think we're in a really good spot right now to announce if we have an acquisition that we're currently working on or hopefully moving towards closing. I know in the discussion had been around mostly payloads in terms of what Rocket Lab is still missing to be fully vertically stacked. And I think one of the big options for payload is something that a lot of our ex-users have been kicking around for some time, which is a company called CesiumAstro. A couple of things recently with CesiumAstro, right? They just got more funding, $200 million in financing under the Make More in America program, where they're purchasing a manufacturing facility in Texas and they're moving their headquarters to Texas. So I think they just got exponentially more expensive. But having the ability to provide a phased array comms would be the next great thing for our payloads. But I just wanted to mention that with the current valuation, that's where I would want to hear right now is, if we're thinking about acquiring somebody and who that someone might be.
Yeah, I mean, Rocket Lab exited Q3 with about $1 billion in cash. And then if you guys remember at that last quarterly call, so assuming in February we'll have an update on this, but that last quarterly call, there was the new $750 million ATM, of which they already had raised like a couple, like I think just shy of 500 million. So I think there's still about just under 300 million left on that ATM. So I wouldn't be surprised if they use this opportunity to capture just another 300 million. And that would, you think about it at the current $95 share price, $100 share price, very few amount of shares would be actually diluted. And I think it'd be massively beneficial, like you stated, to be able to purchase, say Cesium or whomever, right? I think that there's so many companies out there that range between 250 to 750 million that, it'd be beneficial. So not only will they have the working capital that they need for the FDA contracts and many others, because obviously you have to kind of put capital forth ahead of that. But you have excess capital that you can then get to acquire companies, I think, which to me, I think is more beneficial right now. Agreed with you, Ms. Iglesias.
Yeah,
You guys,
I like CesiumAstro. I just think it just got exponentially more expensive. So if we're gonna make a move on them, it has to be pretty quick. Otherwise, we're just gonna have to settle for some sort of a relationship with them. I mean, they're already providing some components to us. But I think in terms of acquisitions, the other area that I would probably think that we should look at would be the synthetic aperture radar. With the company that I like most, sorry, I'm trying to plug in my computer, is a company by the name of Umbra that are here out of Santa Barbara. They're still going pretty cheap. It's a private company. I think their estimated valuation is about 300 to 500 million right now. Otherwise, the other leader in SAR is Inspective, which we have a relationship with, but they're Japanese. But I would love to see some acquisition news soon. Maybe electropropulsion, something.
Mhm.
I have to plug in my computer. Give me a second.
No problem, no problem. Also, I just want to point out that an acquisition can also be done in cash and in shares. So, like, Rocket Lab doesn't necessarily have to, like, they could acquire a 2 billion company and pay, 500 million in cash and 1.5 billion in Rocket Lab shares. I don't know if that would have to be pre-approved on a shareholder vote, or they can just. Do you guys know, like, how it's technically done?
I think we
think
had an
it's
acquisition
legal.
like that before, and there wasn't a vote on there. Trying to recall
Okay.
though. Yeah. Okay, so we have actually Geost was like that. It was $125 million in cash and 3 million shares, so roughly $150 million of Rocket Lab stock.
That was a good deal for whoever got those shares, because I think they're like 3x since then.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Mynaric. I think it's been almost a year since we announced the acquisition. Was it March of last year? So Germany, what's taking so long?
Dude, the bankruptcy people are making. Was that the one that is the 3 million shares, or that's just cash buyout?
For Mynaric, I think that was just cash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, it says payable in either cash or shares.
I thought it was just cash. You may be wrong.
Germany is the holdup. Nothing moves fast in Germany, except the Porsche 911 on the Autobahn with no speed limits. I think I've driven 240 kilometers per hour on the German Autobahn. It's pretty nice. I don't know what that is in non-scientific measurements, so you guys can. No, I'm kidding. It's probably. Scott, Canadians usually are pretty good at switching back between.
No, I'm not that.
Nope.
I just know like 60 miles an hour is roughly 100 kilometers. So what would that be, like 100?
So 120, 100 and.
According to Google, it's 150 miles per hour.
Yeah.
That's significant. How did you maintain control?
You do. I mean, it was like you have no speed limit on the highway, and then it was like a 3-lane, very straight highway. And yeah. I could have gone faster if it's just the car maxed out.
Oh.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So we move on to the next one. By the way, it's awesome on this. I love how the community can sniff out the acquisitions before. I mean, like the Mynaric was like dead on. Scotto got plus points for that on the prediction game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fantastic. So the next one is this week we got a bunch of upgrades from analysts. So TD Cowen raised the price from $60 to $100 with a buy rating. Then we had Morgan Stanley raising the price to 105 from 67. And then we had Baird, I'm not sure how you say it, raised to $100. And obviously this helped propel this, like when this was announced, the stock was, I think, like 7% up on that day. So what is your guys' opinion on this? How much should we pay attention to this? I personally never looked at analysts when I was buying Rocket Lab, and I don't care what they do, but it's just nice to see that they're increasing the price targets.
I personally don't put too much weight into this, but it seems like the rest of the market certainly does, but yeah, it's, in my opinion, it's more or less just like kind of, the, what's that phrase? The dog, the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the dog chasing its tail, no?
I don't know, something like that. Something about a dog. I don't know.
I think it looks funny when you have like overweight, buy Rocket Lab recommendation or target price is 60, and then the stock price is like at 100, and then the customers are like, which one now?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they have to like chase the stock a little bit, or
Yeah, we also had another analyst who didn't adjust the price, but did change the rating from overweight to, I forget what it was. So in other words, break even right now. And I think you got a lot of hate on.
Yeah. That's true. I actually saw it on X when it came out, and then I couldn't find it for the show. But yeah, I can't remember which one that was either. Yeah. Exactly. So not all the analysts was increasing price targets. Like one guy, I think, capped the price target and said that you shouldn't be buying Rocket Lab. You should be like holding it. Like you shouldn't sell it, but like it went lower in the, I can't remember which one that was. All right, cool. So then the next one that I wanted to cover was something that Scotto also wanted to go over himself. So Telesat has awarded Airbus Space a contract to build an additional 340 OneWeb LEO satellites. So I think OneWeb was the original Starlink. Maybe that's bad to say, but they were the ones who were trying to become Starlink first, and then they were really slow on getting their satellites up in space. And I think they either went bankrupt or came close to bankruptcy before having to reorganize the whole company. So then this brought the total number of satellites up to 440, including a batch of 100 spacecraft previously announced in December 2024. Now, what's interesting with this one is Rocket Lab has been their solar cell supplier on these satellites. So this should be a contract win for Rocket Lab, but as usual, Scotto knows the details better than any of us here.
Sure, I'll grab the screen again from you, Vince. So like as Vince mentioned, the original contract was awarded in December, and then in March, it was announced that Rocket Lab was selected by Airbus to provide 200 of their high-efficiency space-grade solar panels to power the extension of the 100 OneWeb low Earth orbit satellite constellations for Eutelsat Group. So where I'm going with this is like, this isn't locked in, this isn't for sure, but I'd be willing to bet that it's very high probability that these two or three, I guess, continue the relationship. So when the last one was announced, I kind of ran the numbers of like as to what I expected the brevity of the contract to be. And it's a bit, there's a bit of a range here, but I kind of wanted to reiterate that kind of with the new context of the additional 340 on top of the original 100. So originally, hopefully you guys can see that well. So originally the estimation for the 200 panels that were being provided, 800 kilowatt hours of power, 800 kilowatts divided by the 200 panels, 0.4 kilowatts per panel. Now multi-junction 3 to 5 solar cells are typically priced around $100,000 to $300,000 per kilowatt. So you multiply the 0.4 kilowatt hours per panel, multiplying that by the 100,000 or the 300,000. Again, it's quite a range, but it's, it's directionally accurate at least. So we're looking between 40,000 to 120,000 per panel, or for that first contract, multiplying it by the 200 panels, we're estimated somewhere between 8 to 24 million for the total contract value. So kind of going with like a happy medium, I'm assuming that Rocket Lab would have been awarded maybe, we'll call it like $15 million for the original 100. So if, 15 million for 100, we could probably assume that this new contract, or a hopeful new contract, is probably going to be somewhere in the range of like 45 to $50 million, which is, a nice little uptick to backlog. So, if we assume the same delay between Eutelsat and Airbus signing the deal and Rocket Lab being awarded the solar cells, we could probably also expect that in Q1, as well as the MTO contract. So could be a massive quarter for Rocket Lab if all goes through.
Not only that, do you think that they're going to need a launcher for that as well? So I think these are perfect for Neutron. I think if I remember the size correctly, you should be able to fit 8 or 10 of those inside a Neutron.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, and there's plenty of them to be put in Neutron, so.
That would be cool, guys. Could you imagine like a block contract announcement for Neutron? Like they announce, I don't know, we sold 10 Neutrons for this company. I think it's coming. It's part of my prediction.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah, it's a matter of time. But I think it's coming in 2026.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a matter of time.
I'm hoping this all of these accelerate profitability soon. As Matt pointed out, I think that'll be our greatest catalyst.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. I mean, yeah, like 45 to 50 million. And what is the time when they need to deliver on this?
I'm not sure if they said. No, I don't think it was mentioned. Like, I want to say, I don't think it would be till like 2028, 2029, probably.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Actually, yeah. So the first 100 are targeted for a 2026 delivery. So yeah, like probably looking 2027, 2028 at earliest.
Yeah, it says delivery 2027 to 2029.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it's like 15 million a year, something like that it would add to Space Systems. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot when you look at all of Rocket Lab, but when you just like look at Space Systems, it's like I think it's a nice. It is a few percent that it screws up the. Okay, that's maybe not the right word, but it increases the acceleration year over year. You know, so like with this contract, like maybe we went from 25% up to 28% up, and this extra 3% was this contract, something like that.
Yeah.
Cool. That is all that I had for the show today. I don't know if you guys want to bring up anything that I might have missed, or if you have any comments or something you feel the audience should know.
I think one of the things I wanted to talk about, you were thinking, and you got my mind kind of running down a rabbit hole in a good way. This is on particularly what companies could be acquired. I think when you think about end to end, what exactly are you talking about? So you start to look at what components doesn't Rocket Lab have, and what are they still like utilizing from third parties? So the battery system obviously is still third party. I don't think they generate that in house. That's a confidential supplier. I'm not sure if they'll ever name who. But then you start to think is actually acquiring a battery maker worthwhile, and that might be tough. And then you start to think, okay, well, what's the biggest piece that would be beneficial for SDA? I think we've acquired a lot of those, like Minoric and Geost and that. And then I start to think, like, well, what haven't we started to acquire for yet? And I start to think the kind of going back to what like Francisco and Jacob were talking about a couple months back, which is data centers in space and being able to have compute 24/7 and all that. And then you start to think, okay, well, is there small, disparate, not fully aligned supply chains associated with being able to fix radiation, right? Because you have radiation in space that you have to worry about. And is there an opportunity to potentially take existing sort of things that are used for terrain data centers that then you can wrap in sort of radiation resistant gear? And I think you start to notice that there's a lot of small companies really looking at the precipice of this next foundational move. You can't just take like an NVIDIA chip and put it into a satellite and have it work the same way that you would, let's just say in a server rack somewhere in a data center. And so I think that's a rabbit hole I'm probably going to continue to go down. There's a lot of small companies that are, less than $50 million that are generating a lot of these experimental sort of things that are actually seemingly gaining some decent traction. And so to me, I think Rocket Lab could potentially think about that, because if you're talking about flatellite, what can you use it for? If that's an avenue, coupled with being able to use laser communications, etc., then yeah, that might be an area which we continue to go down. But the batteries doesn't make sense. The ground communication piece, I think, is still outsourced. I forget who they said that was with, but I don't know if you'd want to be starting to buy terrestrial real estate to be able to get ground communications, or you just third party that. But I'm starting to think, like, what else is there in their main components, and I'd have to dig deeper into, break down each individual piece of a satellite to be able to be like, okay, what are they doing in-house versus not? But they've made big progress on what they've already been able to bring in-house: solar, the laser communication. So I don't want to say you're running out of things, but it's not like it was 5 years ago when they first kind of got started. So
yeah, Jacob pointed out that the satellite batteries are actually made in-house now. He sent me a slide from
are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think you're right.
Oh, the satellite batteries. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was talking the Electron battery pack, but yes, okay. That's I'll have to. I didn't know that. I'll have to do some research.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money, Matt. In terms of continuing to build on that vertical stack, I don't think it's something small like a component that you buy out. I think it's to enhance your potential with the contracts that you already have. Or you start working on your own constellation and continuing the vertical stack of what we already have. Like, if we were to pick up, which, like I said, CesiumAstro, which just became exponentially more expensive, or a company that provides phased array communications, that would be ideal, because now we have that piece of the puzzle that we don't have currently. We're currently dependent on them. Something that focuses on SAR, like I mentioned with Umbra, that enhances the piece that Geos provides. Geos is able to track, the missiles that are coming in, but it doesn't do a great job at looking through fog and clouds, from what I understand. So having a SAR company that does that's able to see through any weather challenges would be ideal. And maybe like electropropulsion. I know that we have the Curie engine for Photon that we use, but when we're talking about big constellations and being able to move at the drop of a dime, for defense purposes, maybe we want to look at companies that provide electropropulsion, so that we don't have to just rely on our little Curie engine, unless we're going to continue to make engines for that purpose. But yeah, there's a few companies come to mind. Like I said, I like Umbra for SAR in Santa Barbara. I like Axion Systems for the electropropulsion, if we look in that direction. We have tactical communications to continue to enhance on that defense payload stack. But I think having all the different pieces where you're able to see and communicate clearly makes it a lot easier to make Flatellite or our own constellation, whatever it needs to be, because then we have all the pieces that go in.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Before we sign off too, guys, I was adding the community votes to the 2026 predictions, and there were a few that were like for example, I kind of had to go like, for when Neutron launches, I put like 2 months. So for this example, like June and July were tied, and I want to tighten those up for the to make the answers a little bit tighter. So there's going to be a few more of those predictions that are going to be repolled. That's intentional. It's just to kind of like tighten those ranges. For example, we have like Rocket Lab share price between 100 and 150. So I want to make it like, just tighter answers, if that makes sense. So I'll be posting those after the episode, just in case you guys are wondering, like, why are you redoing that? That's why, just so we can update that. Also, we need to get Dave on the show. We had him last week. We forgot to add him into the predictions. So we'll have to do that next time.
Dave.
Hot Dave.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for coming. It was amazing as usual. And may your sky stay blue and your stock stay green, especially Rocket Lab. Although a pullback can come at any time. But yeah, but then if a pullback comes, you know what to do. So exactly. So thank you again, and I'll see you everyone next week. By the way, Monday there's no trading, right?
Oh no.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's so if the stock is not moving on Monday, don't be DMing me. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Mhm.
It's so that Trump can buy Greenland without crashing the stock market. Okay. Cool, everyone. Yeah. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.